These are commonplace. All kinds of diseases, people are slipping away. Economy's down, people don't have enough pay. But as for me, all I can say is thank you, Lord, for all you've done for me. Hey, yeah. And folks without homes are living in the streets. And the drug habits, some say they just can't be. Muggers and robbers, that seems to be safe. But you've been my protection every step of the way. And I want to say thank you, Lord, for all you've done for me. Hey, well, it could have been me outdoors with no food and no clothes, or just a man without a friend, or just another number with a tragic end. But you didn't see fit to let none of these things be, 'cause every day by your power you keep on keeping me. And I want to say thank you, Lord, for all you've done. And I want to say thank you, Lord, for all you've done. And I want to say thank you, Lord, for all you've done for me.
Hallelujah.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that. That's wonderful. And truly, I have so much to be thankful to the Lord for, as Pastor said. And he mentioned chemotherapy. I get like this. I always say radiation when people say chemotherapy, because chemotherapy is pretty rough, but God has brought me through a lot. And I told him, I said, you know, you're taking your chance asking me to come up here. I want to thank Becky Barnes for this week. She had emailed me and said, you know, would you like to come and talk a little bit about something and do our God moment for us? And I said, well, okay, I could think about that. And then I said, you know, I'm going toward radiation. I said, is anybody doing it this week? Can I switch? Because I know I'm feeling good right now. I don't have any guarantees after I start. So I'm glad that I'm thankful to her and Pastor for letting me do this morning at this time. And I told Pastor, I said, you know, God has been so good, I might start having to, you know, yell and scream and shout all over the church. And he said, that's okay, I'll yell and scream and shout with you. So, Pastor after my own heart. But I just want to talk just a little bit this morning about a ministry that we have here in the church and what a blessing it has been to me. And I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes, and then I may have to just read a little something too. But and I told Pastor, I said, well, you know, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. And he said, well, usually about 5 or 10. He said, but I know you. So I really don't want to be up here long. And also, before, one of the blessings that I have had, and it also makes me think of Stephen Ministry, because the word that Stephen Ministry makes me think of is love. You know, it's that God is love, and if you want to be shown, if you just have a time in your life when you just need a little bit more love, contact Pastor, contact Nancy Quinlan regarding the Stephen Ministry. One of the things that God has done for me that is not necessarily the ministry is my sister-in-law is here with me today, and I have to mention her, Valerie Smith, and she's here from Michigan. She's been here since Thursday, and it's a real blessing to have her here with me. Nancy Quinlan called me. Many of you know that in 2014, I was diagnosed with MCI. That's mild cognitive impairment, which means that there's probably about an 80 to 90% chance that you will have early onset Alzheimer's. And after I was diagnosed with that, they told me probably in about 3 years, you'll probably need some, start needing some serious care. And so Nancy had come to me, probably a little bit before September, because we had something else happen in September. So I want to say maybe July or August because I can't remember exactly. But she had come to me and she asked me, do you think you would like to have a Stephen minister? And me thinking about myself and thinking about others and what I had done in the church previously, I'm like, well, Stephen ministers, my mother has those at her church. And those are for people that are really having life challenges. And with MCI, it's so uncertain, and you might see something, but you might not really see something. And at that time, I even said to her, I said, well, maybe that's for somebody who, is really having problems with grief or really having problems with cancer. Little did I know, but that's one of the things that I mentioned. But God always knows about those things. And so, I started thinking about it, and we were talking about it, and I said, but I have had some rough times going through different things as far as, the MCI is concerned, and there are some times when I can't talk to Charles because he's at work, and there are some times when I just need just a little bit extra, somebody there to help me go through whatever it is that I'm going through for the day, or I can call them at any time. So I said, okay, I'll take a Stephen minister. I started, my Stephen minister started coming to me weekly, and it was just such a blessing. And I'm going to reiterate some of this when I read this, because there's a particular something that I want you to hear, but I wanted you to hear it from my heart first. And she started coming to me, and we started doing some things, and then we found out that I was going to have to retire, which I didn't know. And then we found out in September I was diagnosed with cancer, breast cancer, and she's been there through that whole entire thing. I didn't know that was going to happen. She didn't know that was going to happen. She thought she was just going to, kind of help me move through the whole diagnosis of MCI. A couple of weeks ago when she came to my house, I said, I have something I want to read to you, and I want to read that to you this morning. God's love in action. Good morning. His merciful kindness is great toward us, Psalms 117:2. Arthur Philip Keller once said, kindness is invariably associated with mercy. It is impossible to be kind without being merciful. Likewise, to be merciful is to be kind. It implies that there is a deep and genuine concern for another. When you think about Stephen ministry, it implies that there is a deep and genuine concern for another. This concern is one of compassion and mercy. We are moved to be kind because we care. Caring is the essence of God's selfless love expressed to another. And that's what I told her that she was. That her caring was the essence of God's selfless love expressed to another. And it was being expressed to me. It is the constant, enduring, unchanging kindness of my God that gives me every reason to have hope and to celebrate my blessings every day. As many of you know, I was diagnosed with an early form of dementia 2 years ago, and last September I was also diagnosed with breast cancer. Shortly before my breast cancer diagnosis, I was approached by Nancy Clemens about the possibility of having a Stephen minister from the church assigned to me. The purpose of the Stephen ministry at Onalaska United Methodist Church is to meet the needs of individuals who have major life challenges. Well, having breast cancer and early dementia, that certainly qualified me to have a Stephen minister, so I did agree. My Stephen minister usually meets with me on a weekly basis to listen, to care, to encourage, to pray, and provide emotional and spiritual support to me. My Stephen minister has walked with me on my journey with my health challenges and constantly reminds me that God is also on this journey with me. My Stephen minister has provided Christ-centered care and support. We engage in a devotional each time we meet, and I want to share with you what she gave me. March 30th. Remember I told you I couldn't remember? March 30th, 2016 is when we started. It says, here's to many conversations together, your Stephen minister. And she gave me this book called Jesus Calling, which is a blessing. We read out of it all the time. Even when we can't be together, she calls me and we do it long distance if she's traveling. My Stephen minister does an amazing job of creating a warm, caring space for me to process my emotions and work through my issues regarding my health challenges, as well as affirm my strong faith. My Stephen minister reflects God's love in action.
Amen.
My Stephen minister reflects God's love in action.
Amen.
As the Bible states, love one another as I have loved you, John 13:34. This is what God calls all of us to do. My Stephen minister is authentic, affirming, and available. I have truly been blessed by the Stephen ministry at Onalaska United Methodist Church, and this ministry is available to anyone who has a need. There are two other things that I want to do before I leave you. I told my husband when he wrote this, I said, from ribbon to leaf. And two of the things that my Stephen minister helped me to do is she helped me when I found out about my breast cancer. I decided that I wanted to make ribbons for people who would be coming by and helping me and different things. And so we made these ribbons, and we had given some of them out, and she helped me. I just had the idea, and the next thing I knew, the next day she came and she brought this little bag, and it had a sign on it, and it said, Barbara, here's a start for our ribbon project, and love. And my mother, when my mother came, she had the idea, she said, well, let's put your initials in there. So that was one of the things that she did for me. And then she gave, I like leaves. And so I went and I collected some leaves, and she said, well, let's laminate them. And so she helped me to laminate the leaves. So when I think about my Stephen ministry person, and I think about the word ribbon, and I think about the word leaf. Ribbon, I think about the word relationship, because our relationship is a wonderful relationship. I have an illness that she has walked me through. B, of course, is for Barbara. I'm spelling the word ribbon if you haven't guessed that. I like anagrams. B, for the book that she gave me, Jesus is Calling. O, for Onalaska United Methodist Church. And N, because she is simply nice.
Nice.
And then when I think about the word leaf, L for love, E for encouragement that she gives me all the time, A for the admiration that I have for her and the admiration she has for me, and F for the faith that God gives both of us, as well as forever, meaning I hope that we will forever stay friends.
Mm-hmm.
She is a sister friend to me. She is a special friend to me. Would you put that slide up, please?
Amen.
My Stephen minister is Rhonda Agason. The Stephen ministry is a confidential ministry, and they are not allowed to tell who their Stephen minister receiver is. But a Stephen minister receiver can tell who their caregiver is. And Rhonda, I'm going to have you come up here for a minute. Charles. You have meant so much to me. And so is a little word. But in John 3:16 it said, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. And I want to thank you so much for giving so much to me when I wasn't sure of what was going to happen to me. You've seen me through so much, and I just want that so to me means a lot. And so I have this to give you. This is a little angel that I got when I was in Sweden years ago, and all of the angels have the fruits of the Spirit, and this is the angel of love.
Oh man!
And then this is also for you.
Oh.
And I just want to let you know that I love you very much.
Oh.
And if you don't want to see your ministry or believe one, Call Pastor or call Nancy Clemens because it's a wonderful, wonderful program.